because this is another thing we're doing is we're just prequeling everything.
Right.
Just making everything a prequel. I could totally see we come out with this live action Snow White and the Seven, whatever politically correct term they want to use so people don't get upset. And
Snow
then
White and the gangbang.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
and then we do one where it's the Seven and it's the prequel of how they all met each other and come together. And they're going to do it. You know they fucking will.
We should be doing this ourselves. We should be in these fucking rooms.
We should be in these, like, you know what? Right now, I want to write the good stuff.
Right.
I want to write the new, fresh stories.
Right.
But if I can make a quick paycheck real quick from Disney by saying, hey, why don't we make this shitty remake? I collect the paycheck. I use that money to fund the making of my real movie that I want to do.
Right.
I'll do it.
Right.
We just gave you a free one right there, Disney.
That's easy.
They're going to get the Seven. And we call it the Seven.
It's perfect.
We call it the Seven, and it's about how each of them met each other before encountering Snow White.
Lights, camera, action.
UPS, you piece of shit.
I was like, you know what I want to do one day? I want to join a gang.
We're in 2022. Upgrade the cameras. You can see Saturn and shit, but like I can't get a clear picture of someone robbing the gas station.
That was the greatest night in the history of television.
All right. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Welcome back again to Redband Podcast. Hoping to add a little hump to your week.
Ooh,
A little more hump in your week, right?
A little more hump in your step.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who doesn't want a little hump in their step? As you can tell, I'm still miserable.
Yeah.
From allergies.
It makes me, I get allergy guilt because I'm like, damn, I'm breathing fine.
You're like listen to that. I can't even. Oh, God.
I wonder what it is. I just like, I mean, I don't know the science behind allergies, but
I think it's tree pollen. I do. I looked at the pollen count.
Oh,
which I didn't know that was something you could do until a few days ago.
How do they know?
I don't know how they do that. But yeah, they're like, yeah, today it's tree pollen that's high. And that ragweed and grass. I don't know.
Cloudy with a chance of tree pollen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so if you love spring, I really just want to know why.
Right.
I really want to know why, because I'm dying.
In terms of ambience.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Like in terms of ambience, everything you love about spring is exactly what you get like in September.
Mm-hmm.
As there's the other transition. But like, even though things are dying, I get that. Okay, it's not springing, things are dying. But like temperature wise, vibes wise, it's pretty much just look forward to September. And we could eliminate spring.
I think if you really love spring, you probably don't suffer from seasonal allergies.
Right.
That's my guess. And so if anyone has allergy remedies, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
What do you do? Cause you know, I got the stuffy sinuses.
Yeah.
Thursday or Friday of last week, I probably sneezed about 150 times. I just I couldn't even function.
Right.
And yeah.
You might need to hit the herbalist, the witch shop.
I do. Yeah. If anyone has a good witch doctor, an herbalist doctor, send them my way, because this is awful.
It's bad times.
This is awful. Or recommend somewhere for me to move, because I'm always willing to move.
That does bring up a good point. Like, where is it not like that? I mean...
Yeah. I mean, I think the reality is I'll have this anywhere I go.
Is it? Okay.
Because the type of tree, I don't know for sure what I'm allergic to. But when I was looking up the types of trees that it could be, a lot of them are just everywhere.
Okay.
So it's like, and they were saying, if you move, you might be okay for maybe a year, but chances are it'll come back, and you just... So I've also heard that eating a lot of local honey helps, because the bees are pollinating the local plants, so you build up that tolerance for it.
Yes.
I don't know. It's kind of a lie, because I eat a lot of local honey.
You do. If there's anything you're adding to your repertoire, it's a little bit of local honey, because you got to do that. It's like, it's healthier for you, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever, though. We keep going.
You're just going to suffer. When does it usually end? May?
Probably about May.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say.
That's still rough. That's like, it's mid-March.
Yeah, I got like 2 months of just suffering every day.
God.
Yeah, it's really rough. And I got this. I have the massage gun.
Yeah, I loved that when I
got that right here, and I just massage my sinuses to try and break stuff up. So I just. Oh yeah.
It was brilliant, actually.
Man, earlier, you know what sucks is that earlier I was blowing my nose.
Yeah.
And now I'm at that point where I blow my nose a little bit too hard and then my ears plug up. And one side plugged up and I was fucking off my equilibrium.
Yes.
But I went to the grocery store and while I was there, on its own, it just snap, crackle, popped and opened up. And oh my God, that was euphoric. If I could pay for that to repeat that and have that sensation again, I would. I would pay money to feel that again.
Dude, oh my God, you just made me feel some type of way. It's the same way we talked about hotel rooms, you know, on the last episode. It's just like that as well. That as well.
Oh, that is one of the 8 wonders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add it. It's the 9th wonder of the world.
Right.
The 9th sensation.
The 9th sensation. I like that.
Yeah.
One. There's a certain amount of sensations.
Yeah.
Types of sensations.
Yep.
And where you sense them. And that's up there.
Yeah. Local news on a TV in a hotel is the 8th sensation.
It is, though.
It's so good. It's so good.
The air conditioner, that's like the 3rd sensation.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
like up there.
Yeah.
You know, since the ancients
AC.
have been talking about that since sometimes since they built a ventilation hole in a cave wall and said, damn, like this is fucking nice.
Like, why haven't we been doing this?
Yeah.
Took like palm trees and made them into like a tube so it will funnel it directly at them. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But I was thinking neither of us have seen this.
Right.
We could both watch it now in real time. The new Little Mermaid trailer, I guess, dropped during the Oscars and I have yet to see it. So
let's do that.
Let's give it a watch.
I'm so down. And because we didn't watch the Oscars and boy, was that the only trailer they debuted? That's a little what do you call it? Anticlimactic.
That I know of. And this is not for nothing, by the way. Watching this trailer will absolutely feed into our topic for today.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, is a user suggested topic.
Yes.
And it's kind of got multi things going on. Let me see if I could pull up exactly what they said. I think they just said, talk about how people need to stop remaking good movies.
Boom.
So thank you again. This doesn't say their name on it. So I'm sorry we don't have their name.
You know who you are.
But you know if you're listening, you know who you are. You suggested this. So thank you for the suggestion. This is absolutely relevant. It's just very much we're being convoluted.
Right.
You know,
especially the idea of good movies. And I like that he added that to there because he or she, that they added that to there because that is a big crucial piece of what we're going to talk about too.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we go.
Including The Little Mermaid, which was a good movie.
Right. Yeah.
So
a classic.
See. Yeah.
So here we go.
It's like, is this Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, right. I didn't even think they might copyright us for playing this. Who knows? It's Disney, you know how they are.
Damn, but I thought you can react, right?
Yeah, true.
You broke the rules. You went to the above world.
A man was drowning. I had to save him.
This obsession with humans has to stop.
I just want to know more about them.
Who was that? Was that Javier Bardem?
Don't!
I wonder.
Poor child.
Who plays the guy?
Yeah.
You can't live in that world
he
unless
plays
you become a human yourself.
Is that even possible?
That's what I live for. Something about you seems different. I can't quite figure it out.
She got legs, you idiot.
So far, pretty impressed with Melissa.
Right?
Not bad.
And she's, she's the best.
Yeah.
He's a human. You're a mermaid.
That doesn't make us enemies.
We're holding that note.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. It's the worst part is like, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Is that the worst part? I don't know. It's like, it is part of the bad part. I mean, you know what's going to happen from beginning to end.
She's got a great voice. I will say that.
Amazing voice.
Really great voice.
Yeah.
I don't have any problems or doubts with like their performances.
Right.
It's just like, this is the topic of what we're talking about, right?
Right.
All about remakes.
It's just remakes.
It's just so many, especially Disney. Disney's just like recycling itself over and over. They're just self-sustaining.
Right.
And like, when did Little Mermaid come out? The original.
Let's look that up. Let's get some. Jamie, can you?
Jamie? Yeah, Jamie, can you look that up real quick for us, please?
So that came out in 89. Interesting.
89.
89.
Wow, I thought like 90s.
Right, me too.
Late 90s. But
Most of the good ones came out in the 90s.
yeah. But even 89 to me is like not long enough to be doing this.
No.
If it was like it was a fucking claymation in the 30s.
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
let's update this, right? But like
Sure.
the cartoon is fine. Why is there a need to bring that to live action?
And then I think the other part is, and so much art, right? Okay, let's think about how a lot of these Disney things or like these old Disney cartoons or whatever, a lot of them are based off old folk tales.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But they're not a line for line ripoff of the old folk tale.
Mm-hmm.
They are a reimagining with artistic innovation taking place within it. And that's not what's happening anymore. Like, why can't you go watch Little Mermaid and you go like, okay, like I'm inspired by this to do something similar, but not the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Oh,
I'm so glad you said that, because earlier in my thought process about remakes was like, the thing is we're not remaking things that were bad. We're not remaking things that flubbed a great opportunity, right? It's not like we're looking at Little Mermaid and going, man, they had a great concept. The execution was poor. Like, that's not it.
Right.
Because I could see that. I could see like, I really liked the concept. I don't know why they went this direction. I could take that and do it better and remake it and do it better. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just like, we're remaking classics. We're remaking loved. People have cherished memories of some of these movies, right?
Right.
That just shouldn't be touched. I mean, how many Home Alones do we have?
Right.
Too many.
Right.
Way too many. And the last one, I'm sorry, awful.
What was there was a last one?
The most recent one? Yeah, it was like a couple years ago.
Wow.
Sucked. I'm sorry if you worked on that movie, but my God.
Like a straight to DVD type thing?
I think it came out on Disney Plus, actually.
Oh, they didn't they? I forgot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it was just pure, unfiltered hot garbage.
Just hot old sack of shit.
The main character, right, who's supposed to be the Home Alone kid, unlikable.
Yeah.
Unlikable in every way. Unrelatable.
Yeah.
The villains who you're supposed to be against, you actually root for. And I feel like that's why this whole movie didn't work. It just didn't work. You're rooting against the shitty little kid and rooting for the villains. It just didn't work. So, yeah, I mean, they made at least 5 Home Alones. I would say 2 of them were good, right?
Yeah.
Those were the 2 original, the first and the sequel, and then the rest just sucked.
Right.
Don't know why we continued. I think it was John Hughes himself, who said you can't capture lightning in a bottle twice.
Right.
And I think that's what he said about the first Home Alone, was like, we captured lightning in a bottle.
Yes.
Boom. Highest grossing Christmas movie of all time, or at the time, might still be. I'm not sure. Jamie, can you look that up?
Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, so why are we even touching those?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a context really does play a huge point, a huge part of all this. When they remake Star Wars A New Hope, they're not going to be, there was something about the 1970s and for that movie to come out at that time. And one day they're going to remake Star Wars A New Hope, but they're not going to be able to recapture the moment that it was made and released.
No.
Or the context that was around it. It's just never, by that time, people have seen so many damn Star Wars or Star Wars adjacent things.
Yeah.
Kids aren't even going to give a shit. They're going to be like, what's different between this and damn whatever the hell else?
Yeah.
And so context plays a huge role. Thinking about some of the original films that came out when we grew up.
Yep.
I mean, Jurassic Park comes to mind. That's pretty iconic.
Yep.
Context plays a role. And even with these new Jurassic Parks, they're okay, but they're not going to be that.
I think part of the thing too is that those movies work really well because there was a lot of technological limitations.
Right.
For example, with Jaws, the shark just wasn't working. The mechanical shark being submerged in water was causing them so much trouble. And so they spent a lot of time making the camera the POV of the shark.
Right.
Worked wonderfully.
Right.
So much more terrifying when you don't see the thing. You just see, we're moving through the water. We're the POV of the shark going up towards the person's dangling legs. Works way better, right?
Yeah.
Same with Jurassic Park. They used some CGI.
Sure.
But they also used a lot of animatronics. And so you got to find creative ways to hide it. So you shoot a lot in the dark. You shoot a lot in the rain. You use a lot of shadows.
Yeah.
So that way it doesn't look so animatronic. And that just works. Yeah. And now, this is just my take, by the way. This might be completely wrong. But now with CGI, everything's just CGI. Everything. So we just see, because we can make anything, we show everything.
Right.
We show every dinosaur. We show everything in it. And I think sometimes the limitations back in the day are what made these movies really good, because we had to be creative and work around that.
Yeah, and it was like an artistic collage of all the artists, what I mean? Even back to the Star Wars, you got the Muppets guys doing the puppets and the fucking, whatever the hell. What's funny what you said about movies, there were tricks that they did back then to kind of disguise the fact that these weren't real.
Yeah.
But the complaint I'm seeing now about the movies now is that it's they're doing those same tricks, but with CGI, and it's just making the movie look bad.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I saw about Ant-Man. And I guess it didn't hit me right away, I guess, when I saw it, and then I kind of read some shit. So the second time I saw it a second time, but the second time was free. I fucking saw it a second time, and I was watching it, and I was just like, yeah, this movie's really dark. They really just put the fucking whatever, I don't know in editing terms what you would do, but they just really just took the brightness and vibrancy out of it, and people are saying it is to disguise bad CGI.
Yeah.
So it's it's like a double shit show.
Yeah. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
That we're using those to hide bad CGI versus just straight up limitations.
Right.
I think that's very interesting. Someone at Harvard or Yale will probably fucking run with that study, but.
And what's even more annoying now that I think about it is that when it comes to mechanicals or animatronics or practical effects, technology has grown regardless, which means we probably would have pretty damn good technology for those things now to make them look more real than they've ever looked. And yet because we have had technological advances all across the board, we're opting in for that. And then you get a new Jurassic Park and they're like, but look, we can make like the biggest fucking dinosaur, bruh. Like, eat a fucking Titanic-sized ship, dog. And you're like, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Like the kids, they say this. They go, okay. And you go, and you feel bad. You feel worse for it.
You do. It's funny that because they almost say, it's like they almost say that. They almost address that in Jurassic World.
Right.
The first Jurassic World, because Bryce Dallas Howard's character is talking about how in the movie, the audiences are not impressed anymore with classic dinosaurs. So what did they have to do? Bigger dinosaurs, more teeth.
Right.
That's almost like the movies nowadays.
Okay.
Like people aren't impressed with other stuff, so you have to do bigger things, bigger shows, more explosions, more CGI to do things that you can't accomplish in camera otherwise. Even like the backgrounds that we're doing now.
Right.
Really fascinating technology where the cameras connect and it does a parallax effect as you're moving the camera. I know they do a lot of that in Mandalorian.
Right.
Super cool, but you're just you're losing the natural beauty of having a real background on some of these planet-looking desert islands for Mandalorian. And
right.
And I know, like, okay, it costs less money because you can be in a studio and you can get the settings and the lighting just right. You don't have to time it with the sun actually setting and do reshoots and all that. Whatever, fine. But once again, that's what made those movies feel better.
And then you go like, well, are you guys saving more money? Because like clearly in some ways, maybe you're not even.
If you're losing it at the box office.
Right.
Yeah.
They give themselves excuses.
Yeah.
Like they don't even hold up really.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So yeah, we're in that day and age right now. Mm-hmm. I wish we had an actual count. We should have done this before of like how many remakes have been made, or even just like how many movies coming out this year are remakes.
Right.
You know?
Maybe a quickly diddly do, googly do.
Let's see if that's something we could even find out. Because I also feel it in music too. Yeah. I know this is not our topic today about music, but I feel it in music. I feel like we're just recycling old instrumentals from songs in the 90s or early 2000s.
Right. And we are.
Yeah.
I guess that, like, to you saying that, like, brings up the idea of just, like, what is it with this, like, nostalgia thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we so focused on the past? Like, what is that? Why are we so trying to recapture these moments from the past rather than create new moments in the now?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And we talk about a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once, where that was a low budget, kind of independent movie.
Right.
And had, a handful of people over the course of COVID working on the special effects for it, looking at YouTube tutorials on how to do it. And the special effects in that movie came out 1,000,000 times better than any recent Marvel movie who has all the money in the fucking world under Disney, who owns the world.
Right.
How do you explain that?
And then how do you explain it winning Best Picture?
Right.
It literally went out and won the Ultimate Movie Award.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you want about awards, I get it. Even sometimes I think they can occasionally be a crock of shit, but this time it seems like they got it right. They seem to have actually gotten something right for once. And believe it or not.
Was one of the awards that they won, was it for visuals or anything like that, or they didn't?
It was just for Best Picture. Jamie, let's get on that one too.
Yeah, Jamie,
at the same time, multitasking.
Jamie too. Because I'd be interested, man. Like it's astounding to me, and that makes me really happy though that a team of less than 10 people can put together and make a movie look better than a team of thousands.
Wow, they won a lot of fucking awards. Okay, wait. Okay, so they did. Okay, so they won Best Editing, straight out.
Okay.
Best Original Screenplay, Best Director, and then, of course, Supporting Actor, Supporting Actress, Best Actress, and Best Picture.
Okay.
So, but in the technical side, the editing win.
Yeah.
And the screenplay win.
Yeah.
Which, for sure, I mean, it's a damn good screenplay.
and different, right? Original.
That's
the whole thing, right? And so we have to give praise to studios like A24 and is A24?
That is A24.
Okay, and A24 is also The Whale.
Yes.
We have to give praise to studios like A24 who will take the gamble and the risk on movies like The Whale and Everything Everywhere All at Once, when these other ones will turn it down because it's not going to make them the biggest buck. Well, take a look.
Right.
You know, so, and to that I say, for us creators out here who want to tell original stories, keep making your remakes, because that leaves the gaping hole for us to come through and tell our stories. And all we need is someone to give us a chance, right?
Right.
All we need is an A24 to give us the opening so we can tell something new and fresh and original.
Absolutely.
That's all we need. So thank you. And for those opportunities that are being given, because like we can go out there and you can go out there and take them while everyone else is making these reboots and remakes and stuff.
Yes.
This is a good opening for creators like us.
It is showing that it's possible, and it is showing. And if you think about like a point to make about Everything Everywhere All at Once is that it's a completely original film, but of course there's still influences from other films in it.
It's a multiverse movie.
It's a multiversal movie, a multiversal story. That's the monopoly on that isn't even just Marvel Cinematic. There's been a billion stories about multiverse theories and then it's very like there's an element like it almost feels like Matrix-y, you know what I mean? Like there's certain, but it's not a remake of The Matrix.
Right.
You know?
It's a family dynamic, a mother-daughter story, a mother-father story. I mean, how many times have we seen those, right?
Yes.
It's not new in that way, but it is. It's its own take. And I think that's our bigger point is like new takes, fresh takes. There's so many different cultures and families with stories and people out there with experiences that, you know, let's tell those. Because I think right now everyone's experiencing reboot and Marvel bad CGI fatigue. We all are. I think everyone's feeling that.
And you know me, you know I spend too much time on the internet, but what I see on the goddamn internet is this. As soon as someone says that we might be having Marvel fatigue, you get fucking like 20 Marvel dick suckers on your ass. No, we're not. No, we're not having Marvel fatigue. Everyone just keeps saying that. I'll watch every Marvel, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's okay. It's okay if we're having Marvel fatigue. It's all right. We can feel like that. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I love Marvel Studios. I love Marvel movies. I love Star Wars. I love all of these things to death, but I'm a little exhausted.
They're also getting kind of beaten to death.
They are.
And
we can use a break. It's fine. Like, you know, they only used to come out with like one Marvel movie a year.
Yeah, or every two.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
It was just one a year. And then we waited 4 years for Avengers, or 5 years.
Yeah.
That was the very first slate. And then kind of the second slate, they maybe added another movie in there or something. And then the third slate, of course, it got more complex. You got your Guardians and your whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they wasn't constant.
No TV shows and spinoffs and all that other stuff.
So kind of part of what we're talking about makes me kind of want to get into the next part of what we were going to say, which is that video of Matt Damon.
Yes.
So you're probably going to put it, are you going to put it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put it up.
So you guys just watch that.
You guys just sit back and watch. Matt Damon's always been very articulate in what he's talking about. He's always been very smart.
Right.
He's also been in the industry for a long time. Right.
He's also going to be in a very original movie about a historical event, the Michael Jordan like Nike shit. Have you seen that?
I heard about the movie, but I haven't seen like the trailer or anything.
So he's still trying to do things that are. He was even in that damn pretty original movie with Adam Driver. It was like medieval times and shit.
Oh right, I never saw that.
So he's trying to do some stuff.
Yeah, and I like everything that he says here.
Yes.
Because it kind of explains a little bit as to why I think we are having so many remakes and reboots right now. So yeah, without further ado, Jamie, pull up Matt Damon, please.
Without further ado.
Yeah.
DVD was a huge part of our business, of our revenue stream. And technology has just made that obsolete. And so the movies that we used to make, you could afford to not make all of your money when it played in the theater, because you knew you had the DVD coming behind the release, and 6 months later you'd get a whole nother chunk. It would be like reopening the movie almost. And when that went away, that changed the type of movies that we could make. I did this movie Behind the Candelabra, and I talked to a studio executive who explained it was a $25 million movie. I would have to put that much into print and advertising, right, to market it, what we call P&A. So I'd have to put that in P&A. So now I'm in $50 million. I have to split everything I get with the exhibitor, right, the people who own the movie theaters. So I would have to make $100 million before I got into profit. And the idea of making $100 million on a story about like this love affair between these two people, yeah, I love everyone in the movie, but that's suddenly a massive gamble in a way that it wasn't in the 1990s when they were making all those kind of movies, the kind of movies that I loved and the kind of movies that were my bread and butter.
I like how he points out that was his bread and butter. That was, man, like Good Will Hunting, something like that. You know?
Yeah, which he wrote.
Yeah,
and starred in. And yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I wonder if he ended up asking a follow-up question, but I would have asked, do you think a movie like Good Will Hunting could be made today?
And I bet you the answer is by A24, maybe.
It's probably the way he reacted to it, where it's like, I love the concept, everyone in it, but that's a huge gamble,
right?
You know, to get Robin Williams and all these, you know, this talent and put this kind of movie out, like,
right.
So I like what he's saying there is almost like this switch to streaming, has kind of had a big impact,
right?
Because now DVDs aren't being sold as much, and actually, yeah, that's crazy because you go to like Best Buy, you go to Target, and the DVD section is literally shrinking, man.
Yep.
It used to be aisles of DVDs. Then it went down to like one aisle. Now it's like these little tiny 4-sided things of, you know, halfway relevant DVDs. Sometimes you have an aisle of like, you know, the bigger TV shows, box sets for those. Right. But I mean, it's hard. It's tough, even to find a movie that's a year old.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so like to me, like I guess what I got in my head here is like there's like two, because so we talked about the A24 thing.
Yeah.
And like an A24 fan might buy some motherfucking DVDs.
Yeah.
And that's like a different kind of nostalgic person, right? Like they still believe very strongly in like the support of like the artist. So they're going to go pay their money once or twice, you know, maybe 3 times to go see a movie in the theaters that they believe so strongly in, you know, like a Midsummer or a fucking Everywhere All at Once or The Whale or, you know, Moonlight type shit.
Yeah.
And then when it comes out, you know, and it comes out like on the Criterion collection or some shit, or like, you know, you can buy it from the A24 website. Like they're going to buy it because they're like collectors, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's the other camp of fucking nostalgia who is like, they just want to see like the 3rd Little Mermaid or like the 5th Lion King. But like, they're not going to put in that money. They're not even going to give them extra money. Like more people are going to see that in the theater. And then like, they're just going to like throw it on for their kids, like on Disney Plus, like so they could just make their kids sit down and shut up. Yeah. You know? And it's like, it's kind of funny how he talks about that, because I do think the people who still like those movies, they might be a little more willing to buy the DVD after it comes out.
Yeah.
A little bit. You know, a little bit. But it's true that DVDs are essentially obsolete so quickly too. I remember when they were new technology. Don't you?
Barely.
When we were fucking like 5, it was kind of like revolutionary.
Yeah.
And we're not even 30 and it's already done. It's done. I remember when Blu-ray came out.
Yeah, they had Blu-ray, and then not that long ago, I feel like they jumped to that 4K UHD ultra black box steelbook edition shit.
It's like, this is the next thing.
Yeah.
And now you have to pay more for your fucking Netflix subscription if you want 4K. And it's like, you suck a big dick.
Right.
Fucking Netflix.
For real.
Yeah, streaming is, and it makes sense. And that the way he put it was perfectly like it was like a whole nother wave of money was coming in. You knew, hey, we hit it decent in the box office, but just you wait. And that's why they would talk about like cult classic films, like movies that didn't actually perform that well in the box office. Yeah. But then like once the DVDs came out, and for a decade, people are still buying movies like Grandma's Boy that like nobody saw in theaters, but like every stoner, owned that shit, know?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy the impact. And then it's like, well, what will take the place of streaming? If anything, what could? And I doubt we would even have to wait that long to find out, because it's like, and it just sucks that it's impacting it that way, because, not only are we seeing it impacted, like, oh, boo-hoo, their pockets, whatever, like that aside,
right?
Like now we're being deprived of actual new original movies,
right? As
an audience, like that sucks. And yeah, it is nice to like sit at home in your underwear, fucking tray of snacks, and watch a movie in the comfort of your home. That's great.
It's good time.
But I love going to the actual theater. It's just an atmosphere. It's like a thing. Maybe it's a nostalgia thing for me. Maybe some people don't really carry the way how they watch it, but I just love like the smell, the sights, the sounds,
right? The
way those lights dim down, the movie's going to start,
right?
The sticky floor underneath your shoes. Oh my God.
If it ever goes away, it will probably, and I've had depressions over things that are really rough in the real world of my life. If that ever goes away, I will have a depression where I will have to find like a good reason to keep living.
To me, like the scientific devastation that would happen to the world if bees went extinct.
Right.
And how humans would basically just die off because bees aren't pollinating plants, and it has a domino effect.
Yep.
That to me is the impact that the loss of movie theaters would have on my life. I'd be like, we might as well just not have any bees, man.
Right.
Like that's so depressing. That's a dark world I don't want to live in.
No.
So thank you, Matt Damon, for the insight on that, because I think it really does play into what we're talking about, which is why it's financially a smarter decision for studios to just remake something they know will bring people in, and fill those seats, rather than trying something brand new.
And it's funny that they probably based that off of the model that Matt Damon is talking about, what's movies that hit it big in the box office and in the DVD or VHS sales. All right, cool. We know that people are going to come, and it sucks because you go like, even with that Little Mermaid shit, you're almost like, but even though I've already seen that one, there's a part of me that still wants to see what they're going to do with this one.
Yep.
And then you're like, and then when you realize it's the same thing as the last one, just with CGI. And then half the time, it's kind of like that Lion King shit where you look at the damn Sebastian the Crab and you're like, well, now it's just a crab.
It's right.
It's not even like an animated thing. Like it's a crab, same as like the Lion King. They're just lions.
It's just a lion. And I made this joke the other night when I was hanging out with everybody, and I was like, how about Finding Nemo live action? Let's just make that next. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? It's just a fucking fish at this point. Like,
and they're going to.
And they will. That's the thing.
They're going to.
They will. They're going to probably make Frozen live action and Tangled live action.
Right.
I mean, Disney's just out of control. They need to be put in check somehow, but there's nobody big enough to put them in check.
And and A24, it's like something like that. It doesn't even want to be Disney.
No.
So then of course, like there won't be anything to like put it in check, because the one thing that maybe that would go against their ethics, like their artistic ethics. Like they don't believe in being that. They believe in being what they are. Yeah.
And I think now, with hindsight, this has kind of been a long time coming, if you think about it.
Right.
Like, we used to get ads all the time in the movie theaters, too, where it was like, out of the Disney vault, Cinderella, 25th or 75th, however fucking 50th anniversary. And they used to do that, remember?
Wow.
Out of the vault, and you could buy the DVD again for a limited time or go see it in the movie theater. And they do that kind of stuff now with like animes.
Yes.
Which I still think is a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
But that just progressed to this, where it's like, well, instead of bringing it out of the vault, let's just remake it.
Right. Because even if you hate that,
you're going to go see.
You're going to go because you can't. Well, some people can. But you can't even be mad at it unless you like go see it. Like people will hate watch. It's like the hate watch thing.
Yes. Well, they want to go be validated. Right. They want to know that their thought about it is going to be validated and still going to make them money.
That way they can make a YouTube video that's like, this is why woke Disney is fucking killing our society.
Yeah, exactly.
They took our jobs. Like South Park.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, and that's just it. Yeah, they'll make money from the love and from the hate. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, and it's funny because maybe there's a way to briefly spring up what we talked about before this, because that was something they said in the Elvis movie, right? They said like they had the monopoly on I Hate Elvis merchandise.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And it was like, but it was brilliant.
And people bought it. And people bought it. You know what I mean? Like,
and he still got his paper.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's funny because that kind of brings us to an idea about like remakes in general, like something like Elvis, something like Biggie and Tupac,
something like Marilyn. I mean, they have like beaten Marilyn to death all over again.
Poor her.
With how many with how many movies they made about her, and now Elvis, we just got Austin Butler's Elvis.
Right.
Incredible performance.
Amazing.
It's kind of like the Heath Ledger of performances for Elvis, in my opinion. So. I don't know that anyone can do it better. But we don't have to wait long because they're already making another Elvis movie, I guess, from Priscilla's perspective. And it's with Jacob Elordi, the dude from Euphoria.
Fun.
And it's like, okay, we're all ready. Right. That'll probably be next year?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, and I mean, good luck to him. Absolutely, hope he has fun with it. But why are we doing this again? And now they're doing a fucking animated series called Agent Elvis or something like that, and Matthew McConaughey is going to voice Elvis, and it's not even based on Elvis. It's just Elvis as some kind of secret agent.
Yeah,
And then I think I saw Baz Luhrmann, director of Austin Butler's Elvis, talking about how they're going to make it like a Broadway musical or play or something like that. And, that seems like a different category of remake, but still kind of the same thing.
Right.
Like, why are we doing this now?
Exactly.
And how many, is it biopic or biopic?
I call it biopic.
Biopic, right? A movie about a real person. I think people are getting fatigued on that as well.
Right.
Because when I see the announcements of all the ones that are coming out, the comment sections are just like, stop with these. We don't need any more. Stop making them.
Right.
We have, I think we got Bob Dylan coming.
Yeah.
By Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be whatever. It'll be whatever. Mm-hmm. And you almost get a little goofy feeling when you're watching the Whitney Houston trailer for her biopic. And there's like a moment where I don't even know if this is the song. Honestly, this is probably going to piss people off. This is probably because I'm probably wrong here. But it's the same moment in every fucking biopic where they're sitting there and they're trying to, we're trying to think of a hook. And someone just goes, RESPECT, find out what it means to me. And someone goes, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And they start playing it, and it's like every goddamn, I didn't see the Elton John one, but I'm pretty sure, I bet you he's like watching like a small animatronic village, and there's a dancer, and he's going, tiny dancer. I should,
Yeah. I love that. Because I have seen the movie, so I love your outside perspective on like how he came up with that fucking song. That's great. Wow, so many things to clear up there, first of all. RESPCT, that's not Whitney Houston.
I knew it.
That is not. But it's funny because you're right about that scene in every trailer.
Right.
It's either that, it's either exactly what you just said, or it's the opposite where they like say a song and then it cuts to some executive going, that will never be popular.
Right.
And it's like after their like number one all-time hit. You know,
yeah.
it's
What
always
was it?
that
Was
scene.
it in the which one was Mike Myers doing that? Was that in the Queen one?
That was in the Queen one. That was Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, this is poppycock.
Yeah,
like,
5.5 minute song.
yeah. Oh, it's the and how many times can we watch that? Mm-hmm. And then same with how many times can we watch. And it's the joke that people use against Marvel, and I get it. Like, even though, like, I like the giant CGI boss battle, but how many times can we watch the giant CGI boss battle?
Right. Exactly.
And I don't know. And so, like, this also made me think about, like, a little bit more on just that Matt Damon shit real quick. Like, what he said about those like intimate stories,
Yes. Yeah.
And now it seems like streaming services have the monopoly on intimate stories because big studios aren't going to take a chance at them. And streaming services don't have money to always just make blockbuster films. So they're just churning out a lot of like stuff like that, like intimate stories, but like without the heart or like the art and the heart and the direction. And then you just get like Kissing Booth. And fucking
Also with Jacob Elordi, who's going to be Elvis soon.
Tall girl.
Oh my God. Dude.
Or you just get like, and maybe those movies aren't bad, but you just get like fucking Chris Hemsworth like doing a military mission for like the 5th time.
Oh man, you're right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've seen a lot of those, and I've seen none of them, but I've seen all of them at the same time.
Yeah,
100%. That's a great point, though. I mean, that streaming services are almost the enemy and the friend.
Right.
Like they're kind of potentially the biggest contributor to why we're seeing so many remakes.
Right.
But they're also the platform that could potentially host those intimate like traumas or stories that we want to see.
Right.
And so that's interesting that they're like the cause and the solution in a way. I don't know.
And some of them do and some of them don't, and some of them do it good and some of them do it bad. And there's so much shit out there. How could you even sit there and analyze every which thing? But we are in a bit of a clusterfuck. And the point is they're not going to make, like, we're going to get really good movies. And it's like half of the, sometimes, okay, like, so I won't shit on streaming services completely because a lot of the times they do have movies on their platforms in the runnings for Oscars and like big awards. Yeah. Because they are more intimate and like artsy. But like there's like other studios aren't going to take a shot at those. Like it's not going to be a time where that's worth like putting into the big screen. Oftentimes some of those don't go to the big screen.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the thing you have to keep in mind. Like as a studio, as a creator, like are you in it for the money? Right. Or are you in it because you love it? Because like those studios that won't take a chance on some of these movies because they're not going to make a ton of money, those are the movies that will often go and win all the Oscars.
Right.
These movies that you've either never heard of or the ones that are like lower budget, like, oh, this was a risk to gamble on, that Dallas Buyers Club sat in someone's desk for however many years getting rejected.
Right.
And it wins the Oscar. Mm-hmm. And then when it wins an Oscar, that's almost like a second release. Because if you look now on like Xfinity and all that, they're saying watch all the Oscar winners.
Yeah.
And they get another boost. And then people go on the late night talk shows who won, and then they talk about the movie that they did, and that gives it another boost. So it's almost like, why wouldn't you want to make something impactful? Because I feel like that's going to have a much further reach. I mean, for me, one of my all-time movies is Whiplash. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. And that was a low budget, and it was picking up some buzz, got to the Oscars. Damien Chazelle wins.
Right.
Or did he win? No, he won for La La Land.
Yeah.
But J.K. Simmons won for Best Supporting Actor.
Definitely did.
On that. And I saw Whiplash because of the Oscars.
Right.
I had never heard of it till then.
Right.
And I saw it because of the Oscars. And now it's one of my all-time fucking favorite movies. And it's on DVD in physical form right out there.
You bought it.
I bought it.
You bought it because you liked it.
Yes.
You could have not bought it. You could have watched it on on Amazon Prime. You could have rented it.
Yeah.
And just been like, wow, I really like this movie. I'm going to rent it on Amazon Prime one time.
Yeah.
But no, you bought a physical copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. And the article that we're about to read,
yes,
I think too will kind of counteract the thing that we think, because that's my perception, is like, oh, these remakes are happening because that's what makes them money.
Right.
But this article, this study from like since 2019 says kind of otherwise.
Yep.
Which I think is interesting. So then it does beg the question, then if that's true, why are we doing remakes then?
Right.
Then if it's not a money thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess it would seem like, well, no, it wouldn't seem like, because it actually goes into Disney. So maybe we should just look at it. Because I was going to say, it seems like Disney would be the only one that's actually making money, but this actually talks about how those movies aren't.
So we have an article here.
We do.
From inmyarea.com. Never heard of this website before. I hope it's credible and we don't look like idiots now after this. But I mean,
credible.
The sources, it says right here, we used an inflation calculator to calculate updated budgets and box office revenues for original films. Release dates, budgets, and box office revenues were gathered from IMDb, a very good credible source for movies and actors, Box Office Mojo, and The Numbers. Critics and audience scores came from Rotten Tomatoes.
Fair enough.
So I feel like those are pretty credible sources to get your information
from. Any one of us could take the time out of our day, put a Sunday aside, and just for like 8 hours straight, probably get the same exact numbers. Mm-hmm. So, okay.
Yeah. So this study is called Hollywood Remakes Cost More, Make Less Revenue, and Disappoint Audiences. Adjusted for inflation, remakes since 2014 made $3 billion less revenue for studios than originals. Mm-hmm. Wow. That is a lot. Okay. So far in 2019, Hollywood has invested more than $700 million in remaking films. That's like 2.5 James Cameron movies. That's a lot. Banking on audiences to return to movies that have been successful in the past. However, IMA research studied 27 remakes released since 2014 and found that nearly 2/3 made less money than their original film, and nearly all had worse reviews from both critics and audiences. The findings below compare remakes' publicly available production budgets, box office revenue, critics' reviews, and audience reviews to their original counterpart. It's important to note that we used an inflation-adjusted number to make a true apples-to-apples comparison about our data.
I feel like the reviews is a big part, too.
Yes.
Because even if your movie was a box office success, mm-hmm. But if everyone who watches it is going, bleh,
right,
this kind of sucked, and I guess that's not what matters to them.
I mean, money, right? How is it being received? I think it's like what we talked about with Little Mermaid. There's going to probably be a good portion of people who are hate watching that,
right?
And $1 from a hater and $1 from a lover is all the same.
And the thing that sucks about that is if the Little Mermaid sucks, people are going to have to pretend to like it just to go against the people who hate watched it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And then you just that's kind of what's happening with the Marvel shit. It's like now there are a section of people hate watching or not hate watching Marvel movies, but just straight hating on it. And people are doubling down on their love for Marvel, even though the quality is going down.
It's significantly less.
Objectively, the quality has gone down.
Like the moment after Endgame, it just tanked.
It's tanked.
The quality. Now, to be fair, again, the moment after Endgame, we went into a fucking pandemic, which affected a lot of shit, including production on stuff. But still.
That's really weird. That I just thought how weird that is, like Endgame and then
and then
literal Endgame.
Literal Endgame.
I don't know how I feel about that.
We won't even go there. But
let's not go there.
So here are the key findings in this article.
Okay.
17 of the 27 remakes, 63%, were more expensive to make, adjusting for inflation, averaging a $79 million higher price tag of the movies with higher production costs. 10 of the 17 produced less revenue, again, adjusting for inflation. 21 of the 27 remakes had lower audience scores, averaging 26 points worse. 21 of 27.
Yeah.
That's a majority.
That's most of it.
That is almost all of them.
I can't even imagine which ones didn't.
Yeah.
And how much more was it? It may not have been much more.
Yeah, well, this said averaging 26 points worse.
Right. So, okay, yeah.
So, if the original had an 80, now we're looking at what? 54.
Yeah. I'm so glad you figured out some math. Or
Did I do that right?
I immediately dismounted.
Or yeah, I think that's right.
Probably.
Yeah, I went to school.
trust more what you're saying than if I tried to say something just now.
And if I'm wrong, I blame the congestion from allergies.
I just said Whitney Houston made R-E-S-P-C-T, so
That's fair. Okay, yeah. Okay, 22 of the 27 remakes had lower critic scores, averaging 33 points worse. So even worse, even more so. The biggest duds were Poltergeist and Hellboy.
Sure.
A few bright spots were The Jungle Book and Pete's Dragon. Only 10 of the 27 remakes were more profitable than their original counterpart. On average, remakes produced $146.3 million in profit. So they have this chart here.
Yeah.
I'll screenshot it so that way we can pull it up here so Jamie can pull it up. So this is the biggest losers. Okay, so this is a chart. 67% of remakes make less money in the box office compared to their original film. So what we have here is a chart. On the left in white lettering is the remake and the year it was produced. On the right in red is the gap between what the original made and what the new one made.
Right.
So I'm going to start from the bottom and I'm going to go up.
Perfect.
All right. So we have Martyrs. I don't know what that is.
I don't even know that.
I'm not even touched that. I'm going to talk about the ones that people most likely will know. Okay. So people probably know Pet Sematary. I actually know what, Annie. We're going to go Annie. People know Annie, the 2014 remake. The difference between the original and that is $6 million, over $6 million, which means the original made $6 million more than the remake.
That's crazy.
And that was the second to last, by the way. It only goes up from here.
Right.
So Pet Sematary, the 2019 remake, again, over 6 million. 6.5 million is the difference.
So bad, too, that one.
I never saw it. Oh, I did see that, but I haven't seen the original.
Right.
Okay.
Me neither, actually.
We've got Point Break.
Yeah.
Never seen either one of them, but an $11 million difference there.
And that's I would call that, I would say that's a cult classic, the original.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
You hear people, you hear them talk about it.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people bought that DVD.
Probably.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You know?
Now we've got Pete's Dragon, 2016.
Okay.
$13 million difference.
Wow.
Death Wish? I didn't know that was a remake.
I don't know.
In 2018. 62, that's a bit, now we're going a big jump. $62 million deficit.
It's starting to jump.
All right. Now we're going over to Hellboy 2019. I've yet to hear a good thing about this movie.
No.
$94 million.
What's funny about this one, too, is the original wasn't made that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
There probably wasn't more. It was less than 15 years.
Yeah.
I think.
I think so, too.
Because the original came out like early middle school, I feel.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't it around like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man years?
I think it was.
Like maybe towards the tail end of it?
Yeah.
Something like that? I thought so too. Okay, we have Tomb Raider, 2018. $114 million difference. My God.
And also not that old. That one came out when we were kids.
Yeah, I mean, Angelina Jolie. Never saw it, by the way. But I did play the PS2 video game.
Classic. Video games. We talked about that.
Yep. Okay. The Lion King, 2019. Over $164 million difference.
That's crazy.
That's crazy to me. Like, I'm wondering what the budget was.
Right.
Can you look that up, actually?
No,
the budget
absolutely.
for the newest Lion King?
Let's look her up.
Because to have a difference of $164,534,429.
Wow.
Is insane.
260 mil.
260 mil.
260 mil.
That's yikes, bro.
One of the most expensive films ever made.
Is it really?
Yeah. It says that on here.
Holy shit.
I mean, it's from Wikipedia, but it's more, Wikipedia is like, I feel like way more citable these days. I mean,
yeah. Okay, we got The Mummy, 2017. $202 million difference.
And that one pisses me off because I love the original.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the type of shit, like, yeah, you could say I would be nostalgic for that.
Yeah.
But no.
Clearly.
I want the OG.
Yeah. And then Poltergeist 2015, $203 million difference. And then we're going to jump. We're going to jump quite a bit here.
Ooh.
Ghostbusters in 2016. Was that the all SNL cast remake? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yikes. Yeah. $452 million difference. And then you got, wow, I can't believe that. The Jungle Book 2016. Over $1 billion difference. $1,749,696,286 difference. Again, this is an inflation adjuster for the times, but still, that should put into perspective for you. And then the number one, top one, Cinderella 2015, $2,048,850,473 difference. How many of these? So Cinderella, Jungle Book, 2 Disney movies are at the top.
Yeah.
Right there. Lion King was several more down. So that's 3 Disney movies that are on here. I mean, Peach Dragon 4. So Disney's the biggest culprit in remakes right now.
Right.
For sure. They're just remaking all of their own shit.
Yep.
But according to this article, the numbers don't really support the idea that remakes just make you more money and that's why they're doing it.
Right. At
some point, Hollywood, this is back to the article. At some point, Hollywood will learn that not every high-grossing movie needs a remake. Films like the 1999's The Mummy and the original Poltergeist were great the first time around, but not the second. Accounting for inflation, both remakes had higher budgets, with The Mummy going over $77 million and Poltergeist $8.7 million. Neither came close to outperforming their originals in box office. In addition, critics and audiences gave 2017's The Mummy a worse score than the original, 43 points less.
Wow.
Damn, for critics and 40 points less for audiences. The same holds true for the 2015 Poltergeist remake, 54 points less for critics and 56 points less for audiences. Yeah. Wow. Half. We're looking at half.
A half reduction.
That's crazy to me. Adhering to society's demands for more inclusion didn't help either. The 2019 remake of What Women Want puts a female twist on a romantic comedy classic by casting a woman for the lead. However, critics' score for the remake fell 10 points, while audiences' score fell almost double that, 21 points. What Men Want made $48.5 million less at the box office. Wow. $485 million less.
Wow.
Fortunately, its budget was only $20 million, $84.3 million less than the original. Here we go. The 2016 remake for Ghostbusters also casted women for leading roles, yet 23% of critics and 38% of audiences think the remake is worse than the original. Its $74.7 million budget increase didn't help at the box office, where it made $452.8 million less than the 1984 original. And this is part of the problem too.
Yeah.
That we've talked about is not just remakes, but it almost feels lazy.
Yes.
Like we're remaking it, but we're also just plugging and playing for whatever is the most topical at the time in a way. Right? Like, here's the same story. Let's just swap out the character for a female lead. Let's just swap out the character for a more diverse character.
Yes.
To appease the audiences. And it's like, clearly that's not doing well.
It's not working.
Why are we making Ghostbusters with an all-female cast instead of just an all-female cast in an original movie?
Right.
A brand new story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why are we remaking doing Ocean's 8 with an all-female cast instead of like having an all-female cast? Like, look at Lady Bird.
Right.
An original story written and directed by a woman about a woman's journey growing up, this coming of age. It's new. It's original. It's not a remake. It wasn't like Guy Bird before. We just plugged in a woman and called it Lady Bird. Like, it's new. It's original. And it was good. I like that movie a lot. I mean, this is just what we're doing now.
And I think the same goes for all of it. You know, it's like you think about something like Moonlight, you know, that's a strong, like, black story, you know, with a black homosexual male lead about a black homosexual male main character. I mean, you know, a completely original story, you know, won Best Picture, like all this stuff, like Beautiful, beautiful films. One of the most beautiful films in the entire world.
Right.
And it's about its own thing. It didn't need to be like, you know, I don't know, When Harry Met Sally, but like gay and black, you know?
Right. We weren't just calling it Brokeback Mountain again.
Right.
But black. Like,
but like Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan, which like, hey, I don't like guys, but I might watch that, you know?
I think that would make more money than Magic Mike.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Right? Like, yeah, you would. Hey, okay, hold on. Should we? Maybe there's something to this remake thing.
I see why we're doing that. It's easy. It's easy. That's what it is. It's fucking easy.
It's easy.
And in an industry right now that is hurting for talent, and by talent I mean like, you know, the Marvel cinematic, or not cinematic, sorry, the Marvel CGI teams are shrinking.
Yep.
Because people are being treated like shit. They're given like these short turnaround times, and so they're like, I'm not fucking doing. They're short staffed, right, all around.
Right.
So in an industry that is short staffed, it's just easy to be like, well, fuck, what do we have? What do we have in the Disney fucking 50th anniversary vault?
Yeah.
You know?
And they probably been planning that shit forever. Like you said, it's in retrospect too. And you know, they probably are just like, cool, what's the next one?
Yeah.
You know, Little Mermaid, great. Snow White, sick.
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh
know?
yeah, Snow White, we're getting that too.
I mean, just like they have so many movies to remake, and then they'll remake the remakes, and it has potential to be forever.
It really does, because like then you say, okay, we got the remake live action. Now we're gonna put it into like play form. Now we're gonna do Frozen on Ice, which I think they already do. Right? Frozen in Broadway.
Right.
And then that'll become a TV show.
Right.
All right, let's do a TV show where it's we follow the little snowman around, and then that'll become like a video game.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, let's come back. Let's do a movie about following Olaf, and like, it's just, we're just doing this.
We're just doing
recycling that.
And there will be that, right? It'll be like, you know, what's Cinderella? It'll be like from the perspective of like her stepmom.
Yes.
You know, they'll make one of that. Like, and it would like just show, it'll be like just to show that Cinderella was actually very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
And
you know what I could see actually now more than anything is, because this is another thing we're doing, is we're just prequeling everything.
Right.
Just making everything a prequel. I could totally see we come out with this live action Snow White and the 7, whatever politically correct term they want to use so people don't get upset. And
Snow
then
White and the gangbang.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
and then we do one where it's the 7, and it's the prequel of how they all met each other and come together. And they're gonna do it. You know they fucking will.
We should be doing this ourselves. We should be in these fucking rooms.
We should be in these, like, you know what? Right now, I want to write the good stuff.
Right.
I want to write the new, fresh stories.
Right.
But if I can make a quick paycheck real quick from Disney by saying, hey, why don't we make this shitty remake? I collect the paycheck. I use that money to fund the making of my real movie that I want to do.
Right.
I'll do it.
Right.
We just gave you a free one right there, Disney.
That's easy.
They're going to get the 7. And we call it the 7.
It's perfect.
We call it the 7, and it's about how each of them met each other before encountering Snow White.
And we make it a fucking almost like inspired by the 7 Samurai, but it's dwarfs.
Yeah.
Isn't that movie called the 7 Samurai?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
Another fucking one. Oh gosh, I'm losing it. My brain. What I was gonna say is, like, it became pretty apparent to me that the prequels things were getting out of hand.
Yeah.
When they made a fucking Alfred prequel show,
right,
about Batman's butler.
Which, love Batman.
Love Batman.
Love Alfred.
Love Alfred.
In addition to Batman.
Yes.
Don't know what we're gonna see. Why would we need to see that?
Right.
He's not interesting enough.
No.
His prequel life, like.
There's nothing. What do you want? I go to do Batman stories to see Batman.
Right.
Not to see the last scene of that fucking show be fucking him going to fucking the Wayne Manor.
Yep.
And little Bruce Wayne
hearing the cries of the baby being born.
And a bat like fucking flies by, and it's like, hello, little Bruce.
Yeah.
My name's Alfred.
He's
and then boom, and then like 10 seasons for that.
For that. And you would watch all 10 seasons just for that moment.
Just for that goddamn moment, dude.
And that's it. What's his name? We're going to call him Bruce. And then that's it. 10 seasons wasted.
Just to
for
watch that one
Just for that.
dude.
Yeah, man. That is a great example of how prequels have just they've gone too far with that.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
And all this fucking remake shit, and they still can't get a monster universe off the fucking ground with fucking Dracula and Frankenstein and the werewolf and all this shit. Like, they still can't for the fucking life of them. And don't even get me started. Horror is actually just, if there is like the worst besides Disney, it is horror.
How many Michael Myers?
It's horror, dude.
How many Texas Chainsaws? How many Saws? How many Nightmare on Elm Streets?
Right.
Fucking, who's Freddy? Or not Freddy? Jason? What's that one?
The Friday the 13th.
That is Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that is Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, horror is kind of the worst culprit next to Disney. Horror's been kind of doing it for ages.
Yeah, and it's like they just kind of get away with it because everyone expects it to kind of suck a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? But like the Pet Cemetery, I mean, that was just, there's no excuse for that.
Yeah, and now It.
Yeah.
We have the remake of It.
Yeah.
And
then that was a good fucker, so that sucks.
Yeah, and you're just waiting for them to remake The Shining.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for them. They're going to.
They'll do that. They already did the Evil Dead. And then they got the new Evil Dead Rising coming out. Like, when are they going to remake Hereditary?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's going to be, right. The whole reason we started talking about this was the most absurd one that I've seen now. So they're all absurd.
Yes.
But I just saw they're going to be doing a live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. What the fuck? Why?
For what?
Jamie, can you look up when the first How to Train Your Dragon came out? Jamie
can look it up.
Because I want to say maybe 10 years ago, maybe the first one came out is my best guess.
Is this, okay, I had to make sure this was 1 and not 2.
Yeah.
2010.
2010, bro. The first one came out.
First of all, that's actually pretty disturbing too.
That is.
Well, here's what's worse. The second one came out in 2014.
Oh, right.
So it hasn't even been a decade since one has been out. Wait, isn't there a third fucking one? No, there's not.
Oh, wait, 2014. That's a 4-year gap. So 2010, it's been 13 years since the first one came out.
Yep.
Not even 10 years since the second one came out.
And now we get a 2025.
And we're going to remake it live action, by the way, live action. And this is what's crazy about that. It's so new, it's so recent that the voice actors might as well just fucking play themselves in the live action movie.
Right.
Because the voices are so iconic to these characters.
Yeah.
Right? In any sort of animated movie.
Yes.
That when you see a live action person, they don't sound like that. It immediately takes you out of it.
Right.
In my opinion.
I think
for the most part. Especially something like Jay
Baruchel.
Yeah. Like his voice, you know it.
Yeah.
So when someone comes on screen and it's not him and doesn't sound like him,
right.
Or worse, they try to sound like him, just fucking put him in.
Right.
Just do it.
Might as well.
His animated characters kind of looks like him, right? And like, I don't know. That one baffled me truly. I cannot even believe that we're doing a live action of that. I've heard for years too, they're going to reboot Shrek.
And then and I was just thinking about something like that.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to do that live action? And then when are they going to do like live action Incredibles?
Right.
And it's that one hit me some type of way because it just feels so like we don't have to.
Live action Toy Story, how about?
Right.
And I think like we're headed there because we already just had, once again, what did we just talk about? Fucking prequels. We just had Lightyear. I still haven't seen that movie. But like,
was made Lightyear, dude.
Who was asking for a movie about the guy that inspired the toy in Toy Story?
I mean,
nobody asked for that. Nobody. Like, why are we making that? Why aren't we just making new stuff?
And all of this and everything we're talking about right now just makes me realize like how much we're like basically acting as if animation isn't real art or something. Like it's not real until it's like a real live action.
It's not cinema.
Right. It's like, come on, are you kidding? Like, some of the greatest movies ever made are animated.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of the goddamn, like, you know, the old Cinderellas and the fudging Snow Whites and Little Mermaids. It's like that's the fucking point of
that's
those
an
things.
art. That takes talent. Those are fucking hand drawn and painstakingly animated for years.
Yep.
Back in the day. So yeah, it is. It's absolutely an art.
It is.
So I don't know. This is going to be crazy. This is good. This is good, right? Because they're just fueling topics for us on our podcast. Because anytime they drop another absurd remake or whatever, we get to come here and shit on it.
Yeah, you know, and this is going to be a thread that's going to continue. Like, this is an Easter egg. Yeah. But literally, the very first episode of Redband ever was never released. We actually recorded it right before the pandemic. Yep. And we talked about Martin Scorsese versus Marvel. Yeah. It's the same conversation. Yep, exactly. But they're giving us more fuel, and it's going to be an ongoing debate, and that's what I live for.
Yeah, that's what we talk about. That's what we show up in the studio for.
Damn right.
Right? So, lastly here on this article too, they do have a flip side. Yeah. About remakes. So, they were saying the remakes of Aladdin, Dumbo, and Beauty and the Beast generated more money at the box office than the original films, even though they received worse reviews. So Aladdin and Dumbo generated $121.6 million and $325 million more than their original films, respectively. That comes at a cost of higher budgets for both films. Aladdin's budget was $504 million higher, while Dumbo's budget was only $1.6 million more. Critic scores for this year's Aladdin is 37 points short of the original. Both audiences scored the remake 2 points higher than the original.
Interesting.
So, and then Dumbo score fell 51 points with critics, 29 points with audiences. Yeah. And looking again at this was 2019 or 2014 to 2019. Right. So earlier I botched that up. I thought it was 2019 to present. Right. But it stopped at 2019. So obviously, you know, since then we've seen Mulan.
We've had a lot.
I haven't seen Mulan. We've had the new Pinocchio come out. Yeah. So there's been a few more too that would be interesting to see.
They should have done damn Beauty and the Beast. I thought that came out around that time too, but
Beauty and the Beast was. So here's like critics and audiences before original films. Okay, so I guess all of these have been remade. Like here's some that weren't Disney, like Overboard. They remade that movie. A Star Is Born. Which, by the way, like that's an interesting one because A Star Is Born, that's like the third remake of it at this point.
It's been made many a time.
It's been made. And this one, I've never seen the originals, but this one was really good with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. It was. So, yeah, I mean, it was one of those where you're like, damn it, it was really good. And this also kind of goes into, you know, we spent all this time talking about remakes and how we need to stop it. But then every now and then, they drop a little something on you and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna be there. And that's I Am Legend. Oh. That's I Am Legend for sure.
I'm gonna be there.
Because since that movie came out, I have heard talks about sequel for that for years and years. And I've waited and waited. And now it sounds like they're actually gonna maybe go through with it. Will Smith, Michael B. Jordan. This is what I've heard.
This is what we've heard.
This is what I've read. And I'm assuming it's either gonna be a full remake, or I think what they're going to do is continue it from the alternate ending of I Am Legend that was not released. And that's the ending where, spoiler, Will Smith ends up living in the alternate ending. Right. And I think maybe they'll continue it from there. So that's one of those where it's like, I just shit on remakes for the last hour, but I'd be interested.
And that's why it works, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's always going to be nuanced. You know, it's not like the point was to sit here and find a study that says that all remakes are not some way profitable or helpful or maybe even good. It's just like it's becoming a tired model, but we're all different people. You know, we see Little Mermaid remake, we go, we don't really care that much, but we see I Am Legend remake or sequel, and we're starting to say, oh shit, that does something for me.
And here's my defense for it, I would say. I Am Legend, the first one ended and then I found out about the alternate ending.
Right.
And that left me wanting more. Whereas you see a movie like The Original Mermaid, I don't think you want that to be remade.
Right.
My curiosity peaks when it's like, all right, let's see where they can take this story with the point of view of Will Smith's character living at the end of that.
Right.
Now I do want to see where that goes. So I think like that would be my defense for it, is there was some stuff left on the table that I want to see where they go with it.
Yes.
Rather than if I Am Legend was, you know, perfect as it is, which really good, was one of my favorite movies way back in the day.
It's a really good one. Yes.
I'd be upset about it.
Right.
You know, and especially if it was somebody else, like if it wasn't Will Smith, if they completely did something different, then I'd be kind of like, why?
Right.
But my interest mainly comes from it being Will Smith. I believe it will be the continuation using the alternate ending. And then you throw Michael B. Jordan in there, and I'm like, yeah.
Then we're good to go.
We're set.
Make Jonathan Majors the
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's true because, you know, and that's a cool, interesting idea. Like that, this will be the first time. Unfortunately, people will probably take this idea and run it to the ground. But what happens when your movie has an alternate ending and then you make it canon and then you make a sequel off of it? Yeah. You know, that's a cool thing, and it's going to be perfect with I Am Legend, and then they're probably going to do it with some other shit, and then it's going to suck. But I mean, I Am Legend's the shit. It's kind of The Last of Us before The Last of Us.
Yeah.
You think about it. I mean, it really is. Like, it's different, but like similar vibes. Similar vibes.
It is. And I think I Am Legend is actually just a remake of an even older zombie movie, like Night of the Living Dead or something like that.
Probably.
I think one of my classes taught me that. So, you know, yeah, remakes and reimaginings are always going to be there, but I think the way and the sheer amount that they're coming out now is too much.
It's everything needs balance, right?
Yes.
And when there is, and if one side gets a little too heavy and the scales are off balance, we feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And if one side is weighing us down, then we're going to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Give us a little balance as consumers of arts and films. You know, we want to just be able to, you know, even the playing field a little bit. And like, and I think what people talk about too is like what it means for the movie theater. Like when Little Mermaid comes out, it's going to take up like 10 theater spots. You know what I mean? It's going to take up both IMAXs and then like, and the same with like an Ant-Man. Yep. Or, you know what I mean? Like these things, like they take up all this space and other movies don't even get to like be seen.
Yeah.
And they need the space, but it's like, that's part of the problem. Like, you know, or just like, and then half the time you go to those movies, they're not even as full as they used to be anyways. You're like, just condense the times and like condense the spaces and, you know, maybe we'd see some lines outside of movies again. Remember that?
Man, yeah, that was what a rush.
God.
You're like, I gotta fucking get there in time.
You used to have to get there in time.
And wait, and it would line the walls of the inside of the theater, and you would see people dressed up and like talking about their... And it wasn't that long ago. Actually, I think I remember waiting in a line like that for Infinity War.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's probably like the last real possible. But the gap between that and whatever was the last one before that is probably way huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The first Avengers movie was...
Right. That
insane.
was that vibe.
Insane.
But it used to be that for everything. I remember that for the first Spider-Mans and like Harry Potter and all these types of movies. Finding Nemo, actually.
Really?
I remember standing in a line for Finding Nemo. It's just... Man, that's the same thing as the hotel room and the local news and the clear of sinuses. And it's the same thing.
It's the same damn thing. It's the sixth wonder, sixth sensation.
We used to be a society. Mm-hmm. We used to actually put a lot of stock into these things. It is becoming oversaturated and too expected to the point where we almost lose, you know, it's like we're spoiled. We're like a little too spoiled now.
We're like iPad babies, but for streaming.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We're so like, we're just like, you know, what's the point? And now people would think, you know, with all of our little fucking anxieties and shit, and I'm not putting down anxiety. I'm just saying like these environments have put us in positions to not want to go stand in a line for a movie because we wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, we couldn't sit there and talk to your fellow neighbor about how pumped you are for this movie. Like, that's not how things work anymore. It's like, fuck it, I'd rather stay inside.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
We used to be honorable people. We did.
So anyway, yeah, remakes. And this will definitely be an ongoing thread.
This will be. We'll talk about this till the day we die.
As long as they're beating remakes to death, we're going to beat the topic of remakes to death. Because like, it's just, there will always be something new that baffles me.
Always.
I'm waiting for the next thing that makes me go, really? The How to Train Your Dragon really just made me go, this is insane. We've reached peak, but they will go past that for sure. And when they do, we'll be here to talk about it.
Yep.
I think till then, though, I want to know what I want to know two things. You at home listening.
Yeah.
What is a remake that you are absolutely just upset that they're even touching?
Yeah.
And what is a remake like for us? I Am Legend. What is a remake that you're kind of like, you know what? I'm a little bit on board. I'm on board for that.
What's the remake that makes you squiggle your toes a little?
Yeah.
Makes you start going, oh, what are they going to do with that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then the remake that makes you want to quit your job and move to another country.
Yeah.
Isolate yourself.
Absolutely. Like a place like where they don't even have movie theaters. Just to forget.
Just to forget. Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I want to know that. So DM us. Let us know. Post it. Tag us. Whatever it is you want to do. And I guess till the next remake of this episode, this podcast. Yeah, till next week. Keep it easy. Do not blow away in the winds.
Don't blow away.
And don't let your allergies get to you. Like, subscribe, share, keep on listening, and we'll see you all next week.